I'd like to call this meeting of the Festus City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Collier, Councilwoman Templeton. Here. Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Councilman Dennis.
Here.
Councilman Benz.
Here.
Councilman Cook.
Here.
Councilman Tenen.
Here. We do have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will accept a motion to approve the consent agenda. Tonight's bills total $1,226,055.09.
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yep.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Motion passes. The consent agenda has been approved. Remarks of visitors.
We have two guests this evening. The first is Ernest Brown Senior with a request for the South Adams Park event.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening, everybody. What I have is back when we was younger, we had at the park, we used to have a function each year where it was like a carnival-like atmosphere down on Adams Street. And I had some requests from some people from out of town that wanted to have an event to come back home for. So they asked me to ask a few questions and just what is required and what we can do or what's allowed to happen. One of the things they asked me about, would they be able to do a fireworks display at the end of the event? And I didn't know exactly what was required to do something of that nature, even if it could even be done in that area. And so that was one of the questions. And then another was they had asked for if we pull the event off to maybe have a uniform officer. Another one was how long can you stay in the park that evening? Is it just till dark or whatever? And then I don't know if we could request for a paramedic to be there if it's hot that day or anything like that. And the blocking off of the street, if we could block off that area. And I'm getting there. And there was they asked also if we could have extra porta potties there, you know, for the bathrooms because of the volume of people, and also if there's anything that could be done with the side of the hill as far as being cut, you know, on that side of the hill there. So those are all just the questions that I've had.
What are the dates you're looking
It's
at?
to be like June the 18th.
Mr. Brown, sir, is this kind of tied to the June 19 celebration?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
So the original request was specific to the fireworks. Fireworks, of course, are restricted to 2 dates by ordinance, but it does also allow, as you know, when we have like graduation, that council can authorize a display on a particular date and location if council decides that they would like to do that.
Is that something require like insurance and?
There would probably be some concerns from a liability standpoint. Clearly, even with the what you would say consumer grade fireworks, especially with the facilities there, the proximity of some of the woods, you might have some concerns about that, let alone maybe the neighbors. Although I assume most of the neighbors will probably be at the event.
There's a good chance of it, hopefully. That's what you would hope for.
I think there are 2 fire plugs, one on South Fourth and South Adams, and one up on Bethel.
at the top of the hill. So if we need the support for water,
Chief, if it's not real busy, could we have a fire truck there possibly, or even with volunteers manned?
How many people do you anticipate, sir?
I'm gonna.
Mm.
About 200, 250.
Okay. So we're going to need more than one Johnny on the spot.
Yes, sir. We got
And-
one bathroom there. We're gonna go ahead and clean that up ourselves,
Yes, sir.
but we just need the porta potties as a, assessment.
Okay, right. So if there's, I don't know if it could be lined up for paramedics, like you said, and fire, police. My concern, just as Councilwoman Templeton on the fireworks, is liability. Somebody getting hurt. That would be my holdback on that. But yeah, I would say, from my point of view, if we can help, I would like to see that done.
Greg, can we do this? Could we have you work with these gentlemen so we don't prolong this? and
Yeah, I
have
think
you work it out?
if usually a single day general liability policy is not that expensive. And I think if the event were to be able to have one of those, would put us in a pretty good push. And I think it would make it a lot more doable. The other stuff, the support stuff, as far as porta potties or making sure that the one hill's cut, whatever the case may be, I don't see where we'd have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, if we could just get a list, and you'd have time to get it to the individual departments and ask them, I want to see. Yeah. Hello. So I'd like to see them have their event too. I know those events over there, they bring a lot of meaning with families over there. So, then they've always been very good keepers of the park. So if we could get everybody together and look it all over and then get them back with an answer, I'd like to see us be able to give them an okey doke on this. So
Ryan, would you anticipate or see any other concerns we might have other than some type of liability certificate?
right.
Not that comes to mind, no.
Okay. So how about I'll be in touch. We'll talk.
Sounds good.
Sometime this week, I'll circle back with you guys and we'll get together a list of, I guess, what you will need for the event. And I think as long as we can address the liability side of things, the insurance concerns, I don't see. So conditionally, we would need a motion from council to approve at least the fireworks, let alone any other. We do need that because that's the only way the
I'll make
fireworks
that
will be allowed.
motion. I make a motion to have fireworks for your get together.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. You should be able to have your fireworks.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll get a list to you.
Yeah.
Greg.
I'll get back with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Thanks, Ernie.
Thanks, guys. Next on the agenda is Carmelita Davidson.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing us to be here. I got two of my colleagues here to represent Ozark Food Pantry. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of history of the food pantry, Ozark Food Pantry, which is located #1 Sunset Park, Park Avenue Road, Park Avenue Street. So it was originally organized by members of Sacred Heart Church, St. Vincent de Paul, and representation from several other fraternal organizations in the area. They operated in the React building near highways AA and TT until 1993. When they moved to the current location, we overgrown, okay? We've been here over 25 years. And I think we need a big location. As you know, or you probably read it on the newspaper, before Christmas, we received $250,000 money from the Jefferson County Economic Development. And when they hand me the check, he said, "This is for your new place." I go, "That's not enough." Okay. So right now we are really looking for a 5,000 square feet place plus the parking lot. So within Festus area, because I don't want to take, our client anywhere else, because it's just so many food pantry around. That's including the churches who's giving food now. But since COVID, we really increased our client. And then this inflation now is not only in Jefferson County, it's global issues now. So since then, we're increasing 15 families every week. So, and I can only take so much food. And the food also is very limited to us. We just had a letter from Food Search and Food Bank that this is going to happen. So whatever I have, I kind of distribute that sparingly. And we focus also on big family and we give them extra. So that's my long-term goal, is to have a place for Ozark Food Pantry. And I'm requesting from you guys, I don't know, I don't have a lot of connection here in Festus. If you guys can direct us to a right place, if you know anybody that can give us a telephone number, I'll be willing to check them out. We already checked 3 different places, but they're not suitable for us. And I don't want to put the food pantry in Main Street. That's not my goal. My goal is to keep, people in confidential record. And everyone is welcome there. We are serving also not only 5 zip codes. It used to be 5 zip codes. Since the pandemic, we don't turn anybody away. Everybody's got to eat. And whatever I have there in the food pantry, I share it with them. So that's the bottom line. We need a bigger place. So that way we can give a good service. And with your guys' cooperation, I would like to work with you if I can, and just let me know what I need to do. This is my first council meeting from anywhere else. So I need to be educated, and let me know if there's any connection. So my short-term goal here is to, we got a lot of small repair that I need to do at the building. And if you guys can recommend somebody who can do a small repair, a part-time driver, during the week, it's local with a good record, of course. And also some volunteers. We are all getting older here, okay? Some of them pass on and some of them in disability. That's including me. But I can do what I can do. And I did a lot for my disability. And that's the way it goes. You need to unleash your talents. If you have any talents, share that with anybody. Share that with your community, and that's the way I feel about it. Even though I'm a little bit disability here, I go above and beyond. I was elected 7 years ago as a president of the Ozark Food Pantry. And I go, okay, I'm going to do my best, not the name, okay, not the status. I don't care about status. What I can do is what I can be giving to the community. I'm really passionate to the helping the community. So I'm requesting from you guys if you could help us. And Mayor Sam, thank you for the soldiers that came by today and did part of the driveway at the back of the building.
Yes, and they're gonna finish that job too.
Okay, thank you
That-
so much.
That was Matt, our Public Works Director, and Greg that took care of that for you.
We really appreciate that. You think that's a small one? It's not, because when it's raining or winter like now, we got clients goes around. And then we got the volunteers load their trunk. And it was difficult to judge all that, it's a safety hazard.
Sure,
That's all I can say.
sure.
So thank you so much from the bottom of our heart.
You're quite welcome, and we will all get together and talk about this and see what we can do to give you some names, something that we can do to help you out, find a building that would be good for you and some people to help you work.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate it. And you'll see me more, okay?
All right.
This is not the end of it.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Mayor, what was it that we fixed? Or got
The
fixed?
road around the back of the building.
This is the old police station and the.
Yes, where Ozark Food Pantry is located.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving right along, we have bids. Tonight we have purchase of a utility locator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. For your consideration this evening, we have a replacement purchase of one of those handheld utility locators. You've probably seen the guys in your front yard or while you've been driving with that wand. We have a primary and a secondary one right now. The secondary one's being held together with tape. It is in really poor shape. So that one's going to get retired. We'd like to purchase this new one, have it be our primary unit. And then the other one will be put into the reserve. This is a $6,000 budget line item. The bid came back a little bit over. I think we're about $30.
$31.
Yeah, $32 or so over bid or over budget, but we'll take that from other capital lines in that fund.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Matt, where does it stop, man? You're always wanting something. You wear these things out.
You would not believe how much use this thing gets. PK, I bet, has that one. He's so used to having that thing in his hand every day when he's out locating. I bet it's
Right.
Look down, it's not in his hand. He's probably sure.
And the price of tape's up too. So I make the motion, we give this guy what he needs over there.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the bid from Ditch Witch for $6,031.62. Roll call, please.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yep.
Councilman Tenen.
Yep.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Motion passes. Get your piece of equipment. Yeah. Tonight for ordinances and resolutions, we have bill number 4713 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4713, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Festus, Missouri and the Festus R6 School District for the School Resource Officer Program, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4713 is now open for discussion. Could I have a staff report, please?
Basically, what we have is we reviewed the MOU we developed when we first went with the school district and the SROs a few years back, tying up a couple loose ends, one of them being the original one stated there was 2 officers in there. We actually have 4 out there. So we did that. And we also addressed what to do with the officers during the summer months of June and early part of July. There was a little bit of a gray area in there on funding and who did that. So we took care of that the city will take care of those officers during that time frame. Just cleaning up, an existing MOU that we had, just that we look at every couple of years to make any necessary agreements. Anything else there? Other than that, pretty much it.
Question, chief. During the summer months, if the city's taking care of that, are they back on the road then? They're away from the
Yes.
school?
Yes, we put them back on. Yes, we put them back on. We put them back on the road. We put them back on the road. Yeah, thank you. Making fun of my favorite literacy. We are back on the road. And they work a normal shift. We don't change anything. We just work them days, evenings, and midnights.
Currently, 2 of them come out and 2 of them stay in the school. Those 2 of them work summer school and 2 of them come back to the road as soon as school is out. Next year, we'll probably look at trying to budget to bring 3 of them out and leave 1 on campus. But the current arrangement right now is 2 of them budgeted that the city picks up for 2 months and the others are in the school 12 months.
School picks out.
And the school picks that up, yes.
Clarify.
Is there any other discussion? Is there any council member that wants this bill carried over to the next meeting? No, then do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4713 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4713 for the second time?
Bill number 4713, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Festus, Missouri and Festus R6 School District for the School Resource Officer Program, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
A very strong yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Bill 4713 has passed. We also have Bill 4714 on the agenda for tonight. Would the clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 4714, an ordinance of the City of Festus, Missouri, maintaining its tax rate on the gross receipts of gas and other public utility corporations conducting business within the city, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4714 is now open for discussion. Could I have a staff report, please?
Mr. Mayor, what this ordinance is designed to do is maintain the city's current license tax on gas companies. The city received notice from the Public Service Commission that Spire was recently approved for a rate increase of over 7%. And under a state statute, when a rate increase of that level is approved, there is a formula that cities would have to follow to reduce their business license taxes where the gas company provides service. Or within 60 days, you can pass this ordinance to maintain your existing rates without modification. So that's what subsection A of the proposed ordinance 640.015 was what you guys did back in 2013 for a similar incident or similar issue with Ameren, Missouri. This just adds subsection B, essentially doing the same thing for Spire. And then we've also added subsection C, which is essentially a catch-all to provide that the city is covered in the event of a future rate increase for other different utility company.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Is there any discussion? Does anybody want this bill carried over to the next meeting? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4714 for the second time in title only?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, Would you please read Bill 4714 for the second time in title only?
Bill number 4714, an ordinance of the city of Festus, Missouri, maintaining its tax rate on the gross receipts of gas and other public utility corporations conducting business within the city, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date. Councilman Tenon,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yep.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Bill 4714 has passed. New business.
Four Brothers Mead.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I am here today to request similar request to the festivals that we have twice a year. This would be the closure of a 200-foot section of Second Street from just off Bering Street to right in front of the Jewelers. And I've spoken with him in years past about this as well. We're April 22nd, so Saturday from 12 to 9, we're hosting our it's the one-day festival we have every year. And this year we expect it to be just as large, if not larger, as the spring festivals do not conflict with other fall type festivals. So the spring ones are usually a little bit busier. We are adding a couple new things this year, including a first aid station as well. We have some, all of us, all the brothers, we're all veterans, and we have a pretty tight community of veteran friends. We have some Army paramedics who are volunteering their time to take place as a first aid station as well. That's one thing we didn't have in the past. But I guess for the spirit of this meeting, it was just the request for usage of the back parking lot right behind our location and the closure of that 200-foot section of Second Street. And again, that's just for the one day event. I guess if anyone has any
Is
questions.
there any discussion?
Yeah, you've always run a good event in the past. I haven't been able to get out of walks. I don't walk so good, but I've always drove through. One thing, could I request that you coordinate your first aid station with the local Hamilton District Police and Fire so they know that there's a pickup spot in the event of, if you're going to have an aid station or something, just let them know what you're doing down there. So if they have to get in and out, we have some sort of, contingency plan. And like I said, you've always run a good event. I know you can take care of that. No problem. So that would be one thing I would request, being an ex-medic.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I appreciate that. And we absolutely will take care of that. Thank you, sir.
Is there any other discussion?
Just one thing. It looks like you're going to be able to keep some people out of the rain behind your.
That is correct. That is. Yes, sir.
Can you explain that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to, we recently just actually it's brand spanking new, the cover over our back patio at our tasting room location. So one of the things we wanted to do was not only provide additional seating, but also that open air space as well. So we recently had a structure erected over the top of the back patio. Hopefully we can, and right now it doesn't look like much as it was, just installed, but we do plan to follow up with the city and whatnot for, just to make sure everything is signed off and safe and all that. So as it stands right at this moment, it's definitely.
It looks like this could be a nice addition for the downtown.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we have big plans with that.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the request by. Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Have your event.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
In my defense, in 18 years, I've never been able to close a meeting. So that's why I'm a little quick on the gun tonight.
Thank you.
We have a liquor license request from Main and Mill. Denny, how are you doing?
Doing great. Good evening, everybody. So basically on the new the old Ford dealership down the road at 10 East Main. Thanks to Mark Harris, that is now 6 East Main, 8 East Main, and 10 East Main. So that's official. For anybody that wasn't aware, and I wasn't whenever I bought the building from Monty over here, that the floor of that is slanted by 2.5 feet from one side to the other, because he built everything level whenever I went in there and had no idea. So when he got so he took out all his stuff and we realized it's pretty unlevel. So we're breaking that up into 3s. There's 3 locations that are going to have separate entries. All are going to have ADA accessibility. This is only for the tap room for our brewery currently and for the cocktail bar that we're developing. So it's all going to be under the same corporate halo. So talking to Greg here, it looks like that's why I asked for 1 liquor license, because it is going to be attached. Our cocktail bar is going to be attached to our tap room by a connected set of bathrooms that are going to be behind a carry-out only restaurant. So looking at that, I didn't know the specifics. It's been 10 years since I've had to do this, so going through this again. But either way, so that's why I attached it together based on their feedback on this. So we're looking at opening our cocktail bar hopefully in sometime in April is our goal. Feel like we're going to hit that a little bit closer than when the first time I did this. We missed it by 2 years. So a little bit more experience with it, just not still a lot, but getting there. But either way, that's the request. Our cocktail bar is going to be a very similar type of operation that we operate now at our brew pub. It's going to be kind of an upper scale type of location. So I don't know if that's the correct wording or whatever, but there won't be, any, I don't know. We're not going to have, people out front to make sure everything's okay. It's not that type of bar. Same thing with our tap room. I'm hoping everybody has seen our location down there and kind of know what kind of ship we run. It's going to be very similar to that. We're spending a lot of time and a lot of money to develop it, and expect, that the community is going to really enjoy what we, end up putting out. So.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, hey, Denny, you do run a good ship, and thank for your investment in the city down there, you and your family. Would that be something you would have open for like Twin City Days down there as kind of an attraction, which would be kind of cool if people could come in and, visit your operation in there? Is that a possibility?
That's the plan. With our cocktail bar, we're hoping in April. The tap room, I'm within about 2 weeks of shifting gears from the development of the cocktail bar to letting that kind of get, finished construction while I'm kind of shifting gears to develop the plan for our tap room. The idea though is to hopefully have that open in sometime in the summer, but I really don't even have that lined out yet. But that's the goal, is we'll have all 3 locations opened by Twin City Days.
Yeah, some, like if you visit some of the big cities, they have this where, within walking distance, you can enjoy something, and it's just another great thing for the city. And we just want to thank you and your family for investing in our city. So you do a good job down there. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Chief, do you have any problem with the? None?
What kind of occupancy do you think?
Cocktail bar, we should have about 39 to 42 seats finished. It's probably more like 39 because we're making sure there's enough space. We're doing kind of a modular. If anybody's been in Brennan's in the city in South Central West End, they have a really good cocktail bar. There's a similar type of feel where we're going to be able to move tables, our smaller tables, to be able to accommodate a little bit larger groups. But yeah, 39 to 42. Our tap room is going to be a little bit different. I'm working on the seating plan now for that. But then there's also a whole back deck that's going to be an event space. So it just depends right now. We're still not even sure where we're gonna have our ice machine in there yet. So it's a little premature to say, but hoping for, around 200 people in our tap room, which will be not including the space for the cocktail bar. So 250-ish maybe for the whole location, maybe.
I was
don't know.
hoping you were gonna say event space, so. that's
Yeah, it might be bigger than that, but I don't know until we have the tables lined out and if we're doing a stage and all that stuff. I'm not sure yet. So.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve a liquor license for number 6 Main Cocktails and Spirit.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. 406 West Main Street Foundation.
Yeah, sir, the members of the city council, as you know, we have this space. Part of it is leased to Counseling Solutions and to Dr. Fassler, the dentist. And the other part is the area directly adjacent to the library. City crews on days when the weather hasn't cooperated have been able to go and try to open the space up so we can kind of get a look at what we have there. And what we have there is about the back 2,500 square feet trying to fall off the back of the building. There is a foundational crack that extends down one wall and across the entire width of the floor. And it's something that, say a year ago when we first noticed it and we're wondering what we needed to do with the place. We certainly knew that we were going to probably need to do something to stabilize it. The crack has gotten a lot worse in the time that we've been doing the demo on the inside. So we asked Woods Basement Systems to come out and give us a quote. It was $36,000, which was actually a lot less than I think what we thought it was going to be. But the question tonight before council is if we could appropriate some general fund reserve funds to address this. We would obviously have to put it out for bid. But I think if we're somewhere in the $40,000 range, we can get this part of this building stabilized before it has a chance to get any worse. But happy to answer any questions related to that.
When you talk to these people at Woods there, does that come with any warranty or?
It does.
Can't expect too much, but how long do you think you get on that?
I didn't include it in the paperwork that is in your packet. There is a warranty that does come with it. What I did give you is the specs on essentially what they were going to do, which is add 15 piers and then the leveling compound that would go underneath the floor. Again, it doesn't lock us into anything that Woods is quoted here. It's just a foundation for us to work off of.
Right.
Because we will have to put it out for bid.
I'd like to see us go forward with that because that would be a good space. I would think an affordable space for people to rent. And it's something we don't offer right now in a bigger space. But I'd like to see us work towards that being modernized with maybe kitchen facilities to where people could have events in this city. I know we're thinking about the barn, but this would be maybe a little more affordable for some. And it's always a good thing to have that for your people. So I think it's a worthy project.
So this wasn't on the budget for this year, correct?
This was not, no.
It
It was in the 3-year plan. Yeah, we had put 100,000, I think, in for next year to start doing some work inside there, but the foundation has moved a lot more in the
So
last.
this has become an emergency situation.
I wouldn't, there's no immediate need for the space. I'm just concerned that the fact that it's probably moved 2.5 inches since, in the less than a year is concerning.
That kind of seems emergent.
Sounds like an emergency, yeah.
Building sliding off of its foundation. I'm not an engineer, but I don't think that that's probably a good thing. So waiting could end up costing us even more than
Well, if you recall, we redid that roof on those 3 units. That's a brand new membrane roof and working very well. So we've secured the space from some of the elements. It would be nice perhaps to do it for the rest.
I would encourage everyone, if you get a chance to go down there and look at that space. Councilman Collier and Boyer and myself were down there this morning looking at it, and it's a big wide area. And the possibilities are or whatever we want it to be, and it can be. So I think something has to be done. I believe the people that I've spoken to on the council agree with that. And it's a matter of kicking the can down the road and doing it later, or stabilizing things, not necessarily in an emergency, because I'm not an engineer either, but it does sound like it needs to be done. And I would think the sooner the better we can unlock that little gym down there.
Okay.
Amen.
Yes, Jim.
Is that on a slab?
Yeah, it's elevated. So there's a foundation and then there's a slab on top. So yeah, we suspect the folks from Woods suspect that a lot of the fill in the void between the floor and essentially the perimeter foundation, a lot of that has shifted or gone away.
There's room back there, Greg, where you can actually get back there and work then?
Mhm, yeah, there's an alley back there. You can go all the way around the building.
But we're gonna get bids, so, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep.
I chose Woods to come out. Mark and I said, who does work in town that does a lot of work in town? Do you want someone that's familiar with kind of the geologic conditions that we experience here in Jefferson County? So Woods was happy to come out and take a look. And I would hope that they would bid it.
Hey, Greg, quick question.
Mhm.
Would it be wise for us to consult a structural engineer so we come up with a scope of work so we don't get potential 3 different bids with 3 different scopes?
We can certainly either work off of the quote that we have from Woods and then have that reviewed. And that would probably be a no cost. We could have an engineer take a look to make sure that we're addressing everything that needs to get done.
I think all the companies are gonna bid it the same way too, because it's gonna have to have coils plugged up underneath there and to jack it back up.
Yeah.
But is the,
geotech report don't fire. I'm afraid like they get in and who's gonna recommend what? They stand it, they buy it. I was just afraid.
I think, I haven't seen it, but I'd like to look at it. But there's usually only a couple fixes because it's not like they're gonna be able to fix it like new. They're just gonna have to, they got these coils, they drill into the ground and they jack them up. And all the companies are probably gonna use the same coils. So I think if you get 3 reputable companies to bid on it, I think you're gonna. But I think if we do get an engineer, I think we're gonna spend way more than $36,000. So
I think from the perspective of assembling a quote or a bid that can be quote, we can have one of the firms that does work for us look at the RFP that we'd put out and make sure that we're not missing anything.
because I would think Woods would be on the high side.
I was shocked. I know between Scott Schweigert, Matt and myself, we honestly thought we were going to be in the $60,000 range on especially when you consider that the building has moved about 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
That when it came in under 40, I thought that kind of surprised me.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you one thing that I've seen is with concrete, you always get a lot of hairline cracks, and people seem to think that the building is collapsing when it gets hairline cracks in them. And so I've seen bids $50,000 to fix hairline cracks, and the real price to fix them would be more like $6,000 to $7,000. But when we get the engineers involved, and not knocking engineers guys at all, but it seems like not a good situation.
We were down there today and looked at it, and it's a lot more than hairline cracks. They're getting wide.
I'd like to take a look at it.
It's a big building. It's a long building.
Yeah.
Geotech report on file.
I think it's something that, like it's something we need to go forward with and get it done now. It's not going to get any cheaper to get it done later on. and we get this finished, it's divisional down there. You could divide it up and you could have 3 businesses inside there and collect rent on it at that point.
Well,
So it's got all kinds of possibilities in there.
Dave, I'll tell you what I've seen in over the years is a lot of failures are caused because of the penetration of water and stuff. So a lot of times if you just find a source where the water is eroding the dirt, that eliminates the
Right.
problem.
Your base is everything.
Yeah, and if you got direct water going there and washing out all the subgrade, that's usually a big part of that. So, because that building's been there for what? 40, 50 years? Yeah.
I more than that. Never done it. I've been there when I was little.
Well, I'm probably the only one on the council that remembers when the Elks and the lumber company burnt
I remember the lumber company when it burned.
across from the Methodist church, and that's where it's located.
Those paint cans would blow up and shoot
What's
straight
that?
up in the air.
Quit bragging.
That's why I sing. The old snake over the old elks.
You're the only person I've heard that story about the lumberyard burning for a long time.
I remember that when that happened. We were down there watching it.
So another curve watching. it.
Yeah.
Mary, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you remember that too? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so much for history.
If
I
council, if council's agreeable, sir, I would say we'd set a $40,000 budget that we would appropriate of general fund reserve cash and have permission to go ahead and put it out for bid.
Stephanie?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Stephanie, do you have any comment on that? Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yep.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes. Motion passes. Old business.
We have none, sir.
Well, let's get right to the reports. Councilman Boyer.
Yeah, I just want to say the trestle is really looking good out there. I know it's been in the works for a long time, and is any more finishing going to be done underneath?
So the plans show sidewalks on both sides,
Okay.
5 foot on the east side and a 6 foot on the west. So the crew, I know the crew was out there today. Looks like they were working up on the top side, but there is plans that indicate that they would be putting sidewalks on both sides.
Yeah, I've seen that. I looked at that and there's plenty of room for that, looks like. Recently, we've had some more crime in the area, and some of it took place down on Main Street at Monty Kennedy's catch-all place. And wanted to thank the police for responding to that, getting that taken care of, lined out on that. You know, back in the old days, I remember when police officers used to walk Main Street practically every day. Somebody would walk down one side and down the other. Chief, you think there's anything that could happen like that? Just to be checking out the businesses? Have you? And maybe at night, crews are going through every couple hours or so, checking out the businesses in the back and front too.
Planning, we went out, go down, check the doorknobs and stuff, and then send me a memo. Thursday night or Friday night, we contacted 3 businesses early in the morning, to let them know the front doors were open.
Really?
We're doing,
Okay,
I'm sure they appreciated it, but lock the doors.
there you go. Okay, thank you. Another thing, I don't know, do we have a drone in the police department for a tool?
Use a mic.
Open the door on that one. Do you think, I would think that a drone would be beneficial in a lot of respects for a police tool.
Yes.
And the fire department could probably use it at times too. If we could get maybe 2 guys that's qualified to do it. I know for,
About $10,000 to $15,000.
you can get them cheaper than that for a pretty decent one though.
Then you have to get FAA training and everything on the drone operation.
Right.
It's not like this goes-
But I think it would make a good tool, really do.
Yeah, so it's like we use them for Army Corps and our checks all the time. We paid about 2,200 for a drone. Works really.
Yeah, you can get them cheaper and you can get a pretty good one. They got cameras nowadays. It's unbelievable. Video. Homeless situation seem like it's getting a little bit worse down here. Getting some complaints from certain people. And I'm been seeing it firsthand. I don't know if there's anything else that we can do about any of that. From what I understand, a lot of them surrounding communities bring their homeless down here if they got a problem, and they take them to our only psychiatric hospital down here. None of the other ones have that. And they're in there for 24 hours. They get a good night's sleep. They get their food. They're back out on the street. Unfortunately, they're here and not being shipped back to where they came from. It seems to me like we need to maybe concentrate on what we can do about that.
The old adage preaching to the choir. As an example, we've had 2 instances where homeless people we've taken into custody to get them into a guardianship or into a state-sponsored home. For the one took 4 months. Basically 4 months for one. That's one person. Because what you do when you take them into custody is every 3 days you have to have a hearing to determine if they can stay in custody. It's a problem that we're not going to solve here at the municipal level. This is something that needs to be addressed by the legislature to allocate funding for mental health. And you're right, at the hospital, one of our complaints is we go out there as we're dropping them off the front door, they're walking out the back.
Yeah, I've talked to some of the paramedics and they've told me the same thing.
You know, I don't know what our homeless population here is in town, but I would say we probably have a good 24 residents in the area. And just what we go through to put one away is so time consuming, so arduous, and then basically frustrating. We follow the rules, and there are times when the judges forget, or we set up a meeting if they're not there. But we are over projected really area. This is something that's going to have to be taken care of at a level above and beyond us.
Okay, thank you, Chief. That's basically all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Weiner.
Just a few things. Thanks for following up, Chief, on the downtown. I think the presence of walking the beat, as they called it, you know, like they used to do, and with the police presence down there, I think that will have a positive impact on it. And then, you know, nights too, with drive-bys, and you know, I've heard, you know, that there's lights being shined on buildings from the police and making sure things are cool down there. So, you know, thank you for that. Thank you for taking initiative on that, Councilman. Denny was here tonight, and he's kind of like, we have a mall kind of downtown, and with Main and Mill, we kind of had an anchor, and now he's having an anchor on the other end. So downtown's really looking good. I don't know if anybody's walked by his new venue down there, but it's looking really nice. And I would encourage people to peek in the windows if you get a chance down there. On the student resource office thing, one of the things that I noticed in there were crisis manuals that the police were involved in making. And one of the things that Councilman Cook and I had kind of talked about a little bit in the past are emergency preparedness manuals. And I don't know where we stand on those. I know I've spoken with Chief Roombaugh from the fire department, and he said that you know, that they're working forward on that. So I would hope and encourage that all departments would be able to come up with those emergency manuals, just in case something more than normal would occur down here. The food pantry, thank you for stopping in, ma'am. I run by there. Thank you gentlemen, ma'am, too. Everybody back there. Yeah, I run by there, sometimes and you've got cars stacked there. I mean, you do so much goodwill for the community. It's deeply appreciated. One thing, Greg, Mayor, that we might be able to do alongside of that is, I've spoken about maybe having there's a lot of people my age and so on that are retired, and you retire, you've been doing something all your life, and then you don't know what to do. Well, if we have a volunteer group of people and, you wouldn't have to be specialized in anything, but I'm sure that your group would love to have some help.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Open arms.
Exactly, open arms. So if we could have these people that, like me, if I retire and all of a sudden I'm sitting home and I can't clean out any more closets, I'd love to see the city come up with something like that.
Well, why don't you take the
Okay.
ball on that and see
Yes, sir.
see what you can come up with.
I will be they.
All right.
Okay, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Cook.
Thank you. Steph, talking about budget, if it's possible, could we council get an update in the near future on where we're at on budget percents, kind of see, I'm a little alarmed.
A report or what?
Whatever you think. I just like to know where we're at, if we're over budget on some some departments, we're under budget, just a quick FYI, just so we know for future voting. Mary, what is that trophy right there? Would you be so kind as to tell me real quick?
That trophy is a Super Bowl trophy.
Okay.
The library ran a contest, and we've done this for several years with the DeSoto Library. Crystal Library started with this, but they have decided not to participate in the last few years. But this year, with the wonderful support of the community and Chris's business, he gave his business, donated some funds to the Super Bowl because every dollar counts as much as a canned food. So people donated so much this year that we just took them down. We won the Super Bowl. It's back with them. We're gonna keep it. Yes, I think we ended up having 2,466 more items than DeSoto this year. So
Wow.
we not only planned, we ran them. So that is the Super Bowl trophy. SOUPER. For Kansas, the Chiefs, and our own Festus Super Bowl people. Yes. So the library was the champion here.
Okay.
Working for the Ozark Food Pantry. So thank you so much. We enjoy doing it because the library, just like everyone else feels about this, like Brian was talking about, the town is doing so much better all the time. And so many people brought in items that and donated money. And as I said, there's good business here in town, and he wanted to do something for the community. And when he and I talked, I told him the library is my big thing, and he said, "What can I do for the library?" And there was the connection, and there's the trophy, and we're just so proud of the whole community for bringing it back.
Well,
All right.
We're gonna keep it.
Thank you, ma'am. And then,
Next year, be sure and donate.
sure will. Hey, yep. Thank you, Miss Mary. And Matt, I know we talked once, but in case people are watching, I got a few phone calls on easement questions real quick. West Main projects on the books for this year, correct, Greg? We got a lot of piping behind that building, and I've had a couple of residents kind of follow up on their easements.
Matt was able to secure the last of the easements we needed last month.
Okay.
Sent to the county, recorded. They're sent to MoDOT for confirmation.
So we're good to go.
Then we got to do PS&E, the engineers do. So phase one should be this year.
Okay.
Phase two, technically, according to the calendar, is also this year.
Okay.
But it may not work out that way.
Perfect. To the meeting, because we talked about it. I know. I just, in case two residents who called me watch, they now have the answers too. Hey, Captain, since you're the school board president, A+ students are required to do community service hours. Wonder if one of our counselors couldn't partner with the Ozark Food Pantry, just food for thought. And then last, Greg, whoever did the Trestle Facebook and social media update, kudos. I got a lot of compliments
It
on
was all
that.
Barb.
Okay.
It was all Barb.
Kudos, because that was very informative and it felt like the city did a great job on that. Thank you, sir.
All righty, Councilman Dennis.
Yeah, I want to reiterate what Dave said about the police presence. I was in a barber shop the other day and a policeman came in updating all the call numbers in the event of we do find an open door. So he was actively picking those up and delivering them. And it was actually said while he's in there that the owner of the barbershop actually left his door open one night. Our policeman did catch it. I think the drone's a good idea. That would help us. One of the reasons so many homeless people end up at our local hospital is it's centrally located for so many EMS organizations as the path of least resistance, getting the emergency vehicle back in service. So I know recently the county voted down a project that was a homeless thing out off a highway. Maybe we can get with them and try to partner up and see if we can't try to work something out. I know the motels, we used to get vouchers, but I think that they were tearing up the motels to where I don't think the motels want to participate with us, but that's another good avenue we could try. One thing I haven't heard in a long time, I don't know how many people know this, but downstairs we have an emergency management center that used to be the backup for the county one. Is that still operational? Is it in disrepair?
We do have an EOC downstairs, Kevin.
Right.
The room's used frequently for a lot of training. PD does a lot of training in there.
Okay.
I've been in it more than a couple of times. It's probably a little dated, but it's still a space that we use, and it is set up for emergency operations if needed.
Right. Yeah, if people get a chance to go down there, I've done a lot of training back in the day. And some of these projects that we're coming up with, is that Jefferson Foundation? Would that be something that we could possibly go to for funding for things like drones and maybe updating the emergency management center? Because that would benefit a lot of people, under that safety net that they like to cover there. So that's just a thought. As far as trying to get volunteers, our social media would be a good way in our newsletter to request and give a number where they could call to go volunteer. Again, glad to see the trestle done. One thing I think would be a priority is get the height. Anybody driving anything tall, I always looked at that driving an ambulance because I knew how tall the ambulance was. Of course, then again, polite request through the railroad. I'm sure it's on their list, but before somebody comes there and knocks a chunk out of our new trestle, because I know there are some tractor trailers that get lost that are trying to come in on the central end, because I have directed them from Hillsborough Road and Cromwell around to where they need to get back there to the factory back there where they deliver things. So that would be my concern. Somebody coming into the tractor trailer that's kind of lost and hit that would be not a good thing. But other than that, like Dave said, the policeman did a good job of closing that case down there on Main Street. I'm looking forward to hearing from our new fire chief about plans. Just to reiterate, we do own some property out behind JPAD, house number 1. I'd like us to talk about that in the future and have a plan to possibly expand or upgrade our current station. I know Jeff ain't been there long, but just one thing that comes across my mind now and then. So that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Councilwoman Templeton.
A couple things. I mean, good job on Main Street. I can say that when Herculaneum comes past my office, they leave a little tag in the door. And sometimes it'll be, just stopped by, checked your door, whatever. Every once in a while, there'll be, you know, something on there. Aside that, luckily, I've never left my door unlocked. That's a little frightening. So just a thought, but people definitely appreciate it. I had somebody from out of town with me last weekend and had not been here in probably 5 years, and they were very impressed at just the number of businesses and cars and people all over Main Street. So that was a nice kudo that, you know, it's working, that we're bringing people in. And Matt, last one is for you. We had talked a little bit last year about trying to find a way to maybe proceed with a accessible playground and talked about that. So I wanted to make sure that that was going to get back on the calendar and we can kind of move forward with that. I actually have somebody else that's interested in helping maybe facilitate some of that. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Councilman Vins.
Yeah, as far as the trestle, you said the railroad's gonna be putting the sidewalks in or the city will?
Railroad,
As far as the road, is that us?
the 2 lanes of traffic underneath.
Right.
Yeah, that's us.
We have plans this spring to do something with that to improve it.
We'll need to grout
That's what I
the
mean.
holes where the timbers were pulled out. We plan to do that as soon as they get out of the area.
Okay, I figured, like Kevin said, and we all seen the trestle. We figured the improvements are not done yet, and we knew there was gonna be more to it.
We've also talked about upgrading the size of that storm drain grate underneath there, so it can maybe handle a little more water.
Yeah, because you know dang well it's everything's gonna pile up real
Yeah.
fast at that
Yeah.
spot there and everything. Hey, Matt, my tractor with the cutter for cutting these trees, has that come in yet?
No, it hasn't.
You said that's-
a
we
good
said
point.
winter
It was
coming
supposed to
in.
be this month, so I'll
Yep.
check on that. I know
Okay.
we talked to him just before the first of the year and he said he was still on track, so.
That'd be nice for spring coming up to get,
Yeah.
do a lot of brush before it gets, the weeds really start sprouting out, you know, with spring coming up here soon. That's it, sir.
All righty, thank you. Councilman Tenon. Just want to tell the chief, I'm pretty excited about the deal with Main Street. I think that's a real big plus to give people the security of having police officers walking down, up and down the street. The trestle, I was really excited about that. I don't know why. I just had to drive underneath it, you know. And then the same day they opened it up, I just happened to see the train going across, and that span looks huge compared to what it used to look like. And I guess it worked because the train worked. The other thing, Matt, is I still have a lot of people bothering me or calling me about the dark area on Hawk Point coming in off Sunshine. I know we were gonna look into that and see if, you know, basically we need to get some electricity and some streetlights in there.
And I think the difficulty with that project, any of those electrical projects, is that Ameren doesn't do their own rough end work anymore. You know, it has to be done by a third party, then they'll come in and set those lights. And during the pandemic and then shortly thereafter, there just was no chance of finding any contractor to do that. I think we might be in better shape now than we were, but I'll re-energize my quest for
I mean,
electrical contractor.
I mean, is that something that we could do as far as
You know,
stringing cables or?
My guys are adamant that is not the work that they're trained or able really to do. It's something that they might do once every 4 or 5 years. And Ameren's specifications are so precise that if we're off by a little bit, they won't set the lights. And so it's just better to have someone that works with Ameren specs, do it once and get it done right. The problem is, again, just finding that contractor who's able to do the underground work for one light. I mean, that's the thing. Can we get them to come in here and do the one light on Hawk Point or the one light over here that we want done? It's just those onesie twosie projects just aren't appealing to them because they're so busy doing big stuff. We are fortunate. We have a electrical contractor here in town working for our energy improvement stuff that we're doing with Verigy. And so, you know, this is perhaps a good opportunity for us to pull them aside and see if they might, since they're already mobilized here, if it's something that they have an underground crew, we could perhaps do. The guys right now are just doing, you know, plugs and switches and fixture stuff, swaps, but if they've got a crew that's gonna come in and do some street lights for us already, might be a decent time to, you know, get a couple quotes from them and see if they can do that. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
The last thing is something we've been talking about for a long time and we haven't accomplished it yet, is to finish the tennis courts up. We've been talking about putting concrete, bleachers, kind of just. And the other thing on the tennis courts. And you guys probably all know why I'm telling you guys this. Okay. The other thing is all the latches on all the gates are either tore off or bent up. And guys, I still go back to the thought process that we spent a lot of money on those tennis courts. And I know we talked about it a couple of years ago, just trying to get one good project finished and be done with it. And so that's a valuable asset the city has right there. That's all I got.
All righty.
Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Brumbaugh would like to speak to us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you see it in your packets, is Councilman Dennis talked about what our future plans are. The fire department first wanted to get a good basis, and part of that was to see where we come from. And as we were working on that basis, we found documentation that says the fire department was formed and was discussed, and out of that discussion formed in August 25th, 1897. So by my calculations, our fire department's 125 years old. The men and women down there are excited that we can brag that we're 125 years old. So we're looking to do something to commemorate that for this year. One of the things I did before talking to the council, so I'll ask for forgiveness on that, is we purchased a banner that basically says that we've been serving this community for 125 years. I can't tell you the logo was changed a little bit, because if you notice our patch on our shoulders, it says City Incorporated in 1887, which is true. Unfortunately, the city tried to do it 10 years without a fire department, figured out it didn't work. And evidently it was a very prestigious building that they burned down in 1897 and decided they needed a fire department. So we took the Incorporated in 1887 because we thought somebody'd say, well, the firemen can't even count right. So, so we took that part off the logo that's on the banner. I just wanted to bring that out to the council and to the people, because I think that's something that this city should be proud of, that we're 125 years old. We're looking at other things to do. We're trying to figure out a way to really celebrate it. So have some kind of celebration. Like I said, we purchased the banner, and then we discussed about maybe purchasing commemorative coins, challenge coins that.
Yeah, good idea.
So that's what I wanted to tell everybody, because like I said, the men and women down there are very proud of it when they found it. And so thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Well, things have been going well. I think I said that last meeting. I would like to thank Matt and Greg on all the work that they did over the last 3 years to get Burlington Northern to finally get us a trestle and take out the trestle that was in there in 1928. And it took a while, but we finally got it. Took a lot of work. And Councilman Dennis, just so you know, I have talked with Chief Brumbaugh about the land behind JPAD's House 1 and talked to him about needing another firehouse and where it might be. And he and I are conversing on that. It's not something that is just, it has to be on the back burner for the time being, but
right.
We are talking about it, and he's well aware of the situation.
Right. We are the city of progress.
Yes, we are. Other than that, I don't have anything. So therefore, I will entertain a motion to.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yes.
could I ask Matt a question first? So you're gonna have the CPR training for you and staff?
Yes, sir.
Is that, could it be involved in us? Could we get into that?
Well, it's the fire department is the training officer, so I guess it's whatever capacity they have. So the assistant fire chief was the one that was organizing that training effort. I'm not sure if there's how much capacity you guys have, but
I'll look at it.
It's on the 22nd, right?
If we can't do it all in one group, we'll make sure.
I mean, Brian, are you interested in that too? Yeah, so,
I'd like to do that.
yeah,
Well, we like everybody.
that'd be great because it's changed a lot over the years since I first taken it. I know a long time ago, so.
It has changed. They keep changing what they're doing, so it's probably way different than what you
Mhm.
learned the first time around. So, we'll figure out something.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you ever offer those for the community?
It's actually through JPAG.
Yeah,
Oh, I
the
beg your
ambulance
pardon.
district
I'm
does
sorry.
quite a bit.
I'm sorry.
Chuck was working with it.
Right,
but
right.
It's usually through JPAG, so it is something that we were talking about, whether we work with JPAG or not. But one of the things with the fire department, we'll want to do a lot more community education. So if more than JPAG can handle, maybe we can get people up to speed for the certification to teach it, but JPAD is the leading agency in this area to do the CPR class.
Yes, yes, they do.
Be great to offer.
What's that?
That'd be great to offer.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure JPEG can take care of it. Is there anything else?
Mayor saying.
Yes, ma'am. Real quick.
In addition to the homeless, if you guys, well, you saw the increase of homeless in our food pantry.
Yes,
And what we do, when we know they're homeless, we give them other resources where they can go and get some help. I'm with Hillsborough St. Vincent de Paul, and also we are incorporated with St. Vincent de Paul over here at Our Lady. So I know a lot of resources where we can direct them. Okay, one of them is country. Right now, the space is so limited for them, but they can put their name on a waiting list. We got a place in DeSoto, we got a place in Imperial, and also Arnold, because the hotel that we used to accommodate them, we used to be sky's the limit, no longer like that. The hotels had a bad experience with them.
okay.
Like vandalism, tearing up the place. So the place that we give them a voucher to go to a hotel is no longer exist here. But in Hillsborough, I think it still is. But I know some connections are some homeless where they can go. But they
There
need
you
to
are,
do the
Brian.
work. Yes, they need to do the work. We'll give them a number where to go or where to call. And then that's the bottom line.
All righty, thank you. And Councilman Weiner will be in contact with you to get all that information. Once again, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.